What is going on, peasants? My name is JB, and today we are back here on UniteDB.com because playing this game is actually just pain. So today we're just going to talk about the game, and specifically today we're going to play a little bit of a game called Buff or Nerf. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through each Pokemon. We'll probably just do alphabetically because that makes more sense. I don't know, why come up with a convoluted way to go through the Pokemon when we could just do the alphabet? That makes the most sense to me. And we're going to talk about each Pokemon and whether or not I think they should be buffed or nerfed and what I would do for each Pokemon specifically. So without further ado, seems pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead and hop on in. First and foremost being Absol. So Absol, it's in a pretty good place in the game. I don't think it's broken. I don't think it's really all that bad. Okay, that is, you know what? I was trying to be nice. I was trying to be nice, but you can't be having that gigantic of ad pop up where I can't even read your website. I was trying to be nice, but yeah, no, we're gonna have to turn that back on. Sorry, but the thing about Absol is it's nothing insane, but honestly, even like its damage isn't anything crazy. It has fairly decent damage, fairly good all around. So I don't think it needs a nerf in any way, but maybe something you could do would be maybe buffing its Unite move just to give it a little bit more like percentage of its attack. Maybe bumped it up to 100, somewhere around there. This Unite move is pretty underwhelming for being honestly pretty fast charging, and 134 seconds isn't exactly fast. It's over 2 minutes charge time, so obviously you can mitigate that by getting KOs and killing wild Pokemon, but it's just a little bit underwhelming. So maybe buff its Unite move. That's really the only thing that I would really change about Absol. I don't think its other abilities, like I don't think any of its abilities need nerfed or buffed. So yeah, the only thing really, its Unite move, maybe give it a little bit more HP, a little bit more survivability, but even then it's designed to be squishy, so I'm cool with it being super squishy. So yeah, really Absol, it's not in that bad of a place. We'll just we'll buff its Unite move just a little bit, everything else on this Pokemon seems pretty fine. All right, next up we have Aegislash. Okay, so Aegislash is a weird Pokemon. I'm still, to this day, at this point, after it's been out maybe a month or more, I'm still not sure if it's good or not. That's all I really have to say about it. It has good scaling on its attack. It has fun abilities. Yeah, I'm not really sure what to do with this thing. Maybe give it a little bit more decent scaling on Shadow Claw. That even feels pretty unnecessary because it does crit and crits a lot, so I don't really think you even need to do that. That's getting in the overbuff territory. Maybe just a slight change to Iron Head, slightly more damage, that could help. That's really the only thing. I don't think this Pokemon definitely doesn't need a nerf. I don't think. Again, maybe just a small buff to maybe Iron Head. That's really all it needs, because Iron Head super underwhelming, but it does give you your stacks. So maybe make it so it can give you more than one stack instead of just the one stack that you get from it. Like you get multiple stacks from Wide Guard for each different hit you take. Maybe give that to Iron Head too. I don't know, but then Iron Head is just undoubtedly better. I don't know, maybe just raise its damage and it's better. I promise you we will be getting to some hot takes and some actual nerfs and buffs here in a little bit, but first two Pokemon, they're pretty fine. Blastoise. All right, this is a Pokemon I could see needing a pretty decent buff. Cramorant, it's whatever, it's fine. Its auto attack, one of the best in the game. Water gun is cool. I think Water Spout, Rapid Spin needs a little bit of a buff. I think they over nerfed it. It was obviously significantly strong, like very, very, very powerful. Earlier on, post Blastoise's release, it was pretty damn broken, we'll even say. Maybe just give some of its damage back. I don't remember what it used to be, but in turn, maybe make Surf a little bit less of a hindrance. It is maybe the best crowd control move in the game. It is unbelievable how strong Surf is. So yeah, stunning enemies for 1.6 seconds. That's ridiculous. Cut that, not necessarily in half, not to like 0.8 seconds, but like to 1.3, 1.2, because that is such a long stun for a level 7 move. Like you're not even fully evolved and you're stunning someone for almost 2 seconds. Bruh. Surf is so crazy, and the knockback on it is ridiculous. So I think nerf Surf, buff Rapid Spin. There you go. That's how we fix Blastoise. All right. Next up, we got Blissey. This is something I've talked about for a while. And I don't think Blissey is as bad as it's been. I think Blissey was really, really bad for a while, but with the advent of Slowspoke being broken and just so much CC in the game, Safeguard has just gotten like a passive buff to where Safeguard is really good now, and it's something you like having on your team. But I do think a fun little buff for Blissey would be a change to Egg Bomb that would make this Pokemon one of, if not the best support in the game, which it currently is pretty good. I think you could really have something that would knock Eldegoss and even Hoopa now off of its pedestal as just the best support in the game. So what I would do is I would make Egg Bomb work like Ana Grenade from Overwatch. If you're not familiar, Ana is a support in Overwatch, and she has this grenade that she can throw. If it hits her teammates, it heals them and gives them like extra healing on top of that. Like your other heals do more basically. And then if it hits an enemy, those people are unable to heal. Now, I don't think you need to add the unable to heal part to Pokemon Unite because there's not a whole lot of healing that goes on in this game. But maybe just instead of that, the anti-heal, maybe it just does the damage that Egg Bomb already does. So basically, just add a healing component to Egg Bomb that if it lands on a teammate, it heals. There you go. Make Egg Bomb and a nade. And Blissey might be broken. There you go. I fixed Blissey for you. All right. Next up, we got Charizard. Charizard is one of my favorite Pokemon in the game. I don't think it's super broken in any way. The only thing I could really see changing about Charizard that wouldn't completely ruin the Pokemon is make its Unite move charge a little slower. Like it charges way too fast, 123 seconds, maybe bump it up to over 130, closer to 140, somewhere in that range, and lower its damage a little bit. Like it's the slam is a little bit ridiculous and the autos are kind of crazy. So yeah, maybe just lower its damage a little bit and up its timer. Its Unite move is a little bit broken. It's one of the best Unite moves in the game for a reason. So maybe just a slight nerf to that. Okay, next up, Cramorant, one of the easiest buffs in the game. Just make it better everywhere. Cram does not deserve to be as bad as it is. They nerfed it originally as one of the Pokemon that get hit the hardest in one of the first patches that the game released. So I think basically just up its damage. It's pretty simple. Give Cram better damage. It doesn't need better mobility. Like you can run Dive Air Slash and, you know, have decent mobility. I don't think you really need to do that. You can if you want, but I don't think it's super necessary to give it more mobility. I don't really know how you would even do that. Like I think Surf Air Slash or Dive Air Slash is enough if you maybe give it like a special attack buff. Like what's a special attack at level, let's say at level 9 at 330. Maybe make that, I don't know how to scale it, maybe 340, not quite 350. That would be a little bit too significant in my opinion. So maybe closer to like 340 something, 343 we'll say. Give like a small special attack buff and give it its old Unite move damage back. Maybe not the radius. The radius was a little bit crazy, but give it its old Unite move damage back for sure. Because Cram Unite, it was a bit of a noob killer early on in the game, but at this point, not enough people know how to deal with Cram. Yeah, it deserves to have a little bit of its damage back, and plus you can still just jump on it and murder it. So yeah, it's not, I don't think it'd be too big of an ask to just make Cram again. That's the buff Cram. That's the gist of this video. All right, Crustle. This is another pretty straightforward one. Give Stealth Rocket's crits back and Crustle's back. Like plain and simple. Crustle's already okay just because it has such good mobility you can score. It's just Greedent does that job way better and can also invade jungle. You give Stealth Rock its crits back, and Crustle is just it's night and day how much better it is. So yeah, pretty straightforward one. Give Stealth Rock its crits back, and Crustle is busted again. All right, next up we got Decidueye. This is one of the big ones. So I don't even know how to do this, but buff it. Just buff it. It has the worst mobility in the game, bar none. It has unbelievable squishiness is a word we'll use for it. It is way too squishy. It needs too much. Like truly, Cram or Decidueye needs too much. We'll again put it at level 9 when he gets his Unite move. Like makes its Spadef closer to 100, make its defense closer to 150, raise its HP to closer to 4,000. Its attack's fine. Its special attack doesn't matter. So yeah, maybe a little bit more life steal even. Bump that up to 20% at level 9. It needs so much. Its Unite move, completely useless. Make it so you can, I don't know. I don't know. Like, should you be able to move? Maybe. Make it so you can move with its Unite move. I don't know. Would that be better? Probably not. but at least you're not a complete sitting duck. And then do something with Shadow Sneak as well. I think Leaf Storm is fine. I think Leaf Storm's in a really good place right now. I just think Shadow Sneak is still better. Give it more movement speed, give it a dash, give it something that it can get out with. Just, I get you don't want to make it exactly the same as Aegislash's Shadow Sneak, but give it some sort of dash. Give it something that it can get out with. Let it keep the movement speed, let it keep the sure hit. Just make it like Cram's Air Slash, where you know how Cram's Air Slash throws you backwards. Make Shadow Sneak do something similar. I don't know. It needs mobility and it needs bulk. Give it both. Give it more life steal. Give it something. It needs a lot. It needs a lot. It's really bad. Okay. Next up, we got Dragonite. Again, this is something I don't know how to do because its nerfs are working. Like the nerfs it got are, I think, fine. I think Dragonite's in a very healthy place. It's not good, but or it's not as good as it was, but it's still very, very usable. It's still one of the best solo queue Pokemon in my opinion, simply because Hyper Beam is such a good secure. So I don't think there's really any reason to change much about this Pokemon at all. Maybe you could argue nerfing Dragon Dance slightly, but they already did that. But I don't know. Maybe make Extreme Speed a little bit stronger. I'm not really sure. This is a Pokemon that I'm not sure on because I think its nerfs have it in a really good place right now. I don't think its Unite move's charge was super broken, but I like the 50% still feels fine. Like you still get it a lot. Maybe make here's a way to balance it. So make it jump faster. That could work. That could work because it still feels like super hard a time. It takes like a solid. It doesn't say here, but it feels like it takes forever for it to actually jump after you cast it. So make it, you know, actually go faster after you cast it. That could help. That could help. I don't know, just a small little buff, but to balance that, make Dragon Dance a little bit weaker. Sure. I don't know. I don't even know if you would need to do that. I don't think changing its jump on its Unite move makes it crazy. It just makes it a little bit easier to steal with its Unite move. Sure. Other than that, I think Dragonite is pretty fine at the moment. Eldegoss, just nerf everything about it, honestly. Its kit is super good. Leafage is a decent steal. Pollen Puff does a lot of damage, especially if you run a special attack specs build or even a choice specs build. It can do a ton of damage. Leaf Tornado, lower the movement speed your team gets. That could help. Just does a lot of damage all around. I don't think Cotton Guard is super broken. So restores HP remaining equal to 30% of the remaining shield. Lower that to 25, 20. That could help. That could be a start. Cotton Spore, again, does a lot of really good damage. So I don't know. Yeah, just lower it. Just lower its stats by 50 or so. Lower its damage numbers and its shielding numbers by 50. Its Unite move, my god. So it gets 300% scaling on its Unite move. What? And then it heals plus 600, and then it's 250 damage plus. Oh my god, yeah. Just lower the percentages, lower the outputs. Just lower it, lower by about 100, and it would still be really good. So I think even nerfing a Pokemon, nerfing even this like that much, it would still be really good and still have some of the best sustain in the game. So I don't even think that's like a huge nerf to this thing, but it definitely does need to be lowered a little bit just to reel it back in, because this is the best support in the game and it's not Gliss. Well, Hoopa is a different kind of support, but you get what I mean. Garchomp. This is another very, very simple one. Garchomp is really good right now. As good as it's ever been. Just give Dragon Build its crits back. And we're talking up there with Lucario and Machamp. That's all. Well, maybe not after, you know, we talked about Lucario and Machamp, but we're getting there. Like, just give Garchomp its crits back. That's all we need at the moment. Maybe give it slightly longer range on Dig or Dragon Rush. That could be nice, but other than that, let us crit again. Let us crit again. That's all we need. That's all we need. That's all we want. That's all we want. Gardevoir. This one's tough because a lot of people were upset that it got nerfed after its original buff of getting its level up moves changed. They nerfed Psyshock and Moonblast, which was needed because they were unbelievably broken. At level what, they didn't get its level up moves at 4 and 8 after that. I believe that's what it was, and then they changed it to 5 and 9, which was so unbelievably needed. At the moment, Gardevoir is still super strong. The future sight buff was very nice, that it resets to 2 seconds on every hit, and then at level 11 it's just instant reset. I think that's still fine. I don't mind that at all. It does help this Pokemon get some of the burst damage it needs. Its Unite move, still really good. One of the best Unite moves if you can land it. It's just a really hard Unite move to land some of the times. The only thing I'd really change about Gardevoir is maybe lowering the stun on Moonblast to 1 second, and where is the slow on Psychic? Just lower the slow on Psychic slightly. That's really all I can complain about with that. I don't think there's much about Gardevoir that's overpowered, but lower Moonblast stun a little bit more, lower Psychic a little bit more. Maybe give it slightly faster Unite charge as a compensation. That's all I can really say. Maybe buff one of its early game moves. I don't know. Maybe yeah. Lower Teleport's cooldown. Lower that to like 9 seconds. That could be fine. Yeah, lower Teleport's cooldown a lot, like significantly. I think that would be okay. I think we can all get behind that. Teleport's pretty useless, and you get rid of it very early, so I don't see a problem with lowering its cooldown significantly. Gengar, this Pokemon needs so much help. I played with a good Gengar on stream tonight as I'm recording this. He went a little bit crazy. So I do see a world where Gengar isn't the worst Pokemon in the game, but like there are just so many better choices. It's not even close. This is another Pokemon. I don't even know what to do with it because it is so bad. Like Dream Eater Hex, like you take Dream Eater, you're making your other move, you're making your Will-O-Wisp useless. But if you take Hex, you're making your what is it? Your Lick useless, basically. Well, your Lick is already useless, but yeah, it's just its moves don't work well together. Or no, if you take Hex, you're making what was I saying? I had a point. It doesn't matter. Basically, give Gengar, I don't know. It's built as a melee, like it's a melee special attacker, which doesn't really make sense because all of its attacks are ranged. Like Shadow Ball and Dream Eater are ranged, yet it's a melee Pokemon. Hex is range. Dream Eater is of course range on the second hit. Shadow Ball range. Sludge Bomb range. But all of its significant damage being Hex and Dream Eater, you have to get close. And Gengar has maybe the worst bulk in the game. Like it is just not built to be a brawler. Honestly, the best thing they could do for Gengar is change it to an attacker. I think that would help. Just make it an attacker and change its auto to like a ranged auto. That can help a lot. And I don't know, just change how Dream Eater works so it's like an area of effect type thing. Basically just make it Gardevoir, but with a Gengar skin. I don't know. Just make it, I don't know, dude. Gengar's just, it's not good. It's too squishy. It's too squishy to be a melee character, and all of its abilities, all of its damage comes from single target, jump in and assassinate something. Well, most of this game is played in team fights. Cool, you can get one Pokemon, the rest of the team is just gonna kill you. I think Gengar is just not good, so we'll just move on. Greedent. Okay. Nerf it into the ground. It just nerf everything about it. Everything about this Pokemon needs to be nerfed. Make Tackle so it can't go through walls. Make Belch so it doesn't give you Unstoppable. Or not Belch. Make Covet so it doesn't give you Unstoppable. This is broken. Covet is broken. Should not be unstoppable. Make Stuffed Cheeks so it doesn't heal you as much. It recovers too much. It has too much mobility. Has too much recovery. Too much sustain. Too much everything. Too much health. It is an unkillable, unstoppable machine, and it's completely, totally unhealthy for the game. It is like stuff that can be broken and still be fun. Greedent is broken and not fun. Greedent is just not fun to play against. You see a Greedent in your game, and you just know you're not gonna have a good time. You know you're not gonna enjoy yourself. I hate playing Greedent. It's, I don't know, just nerf everything about it. Everything. Maybe not its damage. Like you can keep the Belch and Bullet Seed damage, but lower everything about Stuffed Cheeks and Covet. Lower everything about its health. Lower its Unite move even. Like it's ridiculous how strong this Pokemon is. I just realized we skipped Cinderace. I don't know how I forgot that, but we did skip Cinderace. Again, it's attacks. Basic attack speed. Lower it. Lower its basic attack damage. It should not be able to do 5,000 damage in like 4 auto attacks. It just should not be able to do that. Like lower, you need to lower its passive as well. So it's 90% of your attack plus 0.6% of the enemy HP times your level minus 1 plus 24. So basically, you're when at half HP or less, critical hit rate is increased by 10% and basic attack speed is increased by 20% for 6 seconds. When hitting an enemy with a basic attack, Cinder is placed on that enemy. A Cinder is placed on the enemy for 5 seconds, boosts attacks and moves apply 2 Cinders. When the target receives its 5th Cinder, they will all be consumed to deal additional damage to the enemy. So basically, you're just stacking these Cinders and you're ramping up more and more and more and more damage. And on top of that, you're critting all of your hit attacks. You're getting guaranteed crits off Blaze Kick. It is just unbelievable how strong this Pokemon is. Lower its attack speed, lower its auto attack damage. And I think you can keep everything else about it the same, honestly. I don't think Flame Charge is super overpowered. Maybe lower its Unite Move damage slightly, make that closer to like 220, make that closer to 650. Maybe buff its early game a little bit too. Like maybe give to compensate the massive nerfs you're gonna have to give to its attack speed and its attack damage, maybe buff low sweep a little bit so it does like closer to 50-60% of its attack. And yeah, just a little bit extra damage. Low sweep, like give it some sort of lane secure, make it so it's not one of the most useless Pokemon in the game in lane. And yeah, just lower its attack speed, lower its basic attack damage. It needs it. It definitely needs it. It's most overpowered auto attacker in the game for a reason. Best jungler in the game, bar none. If you don't think Cinderace is broken, you eat glue. All right, where were we? We were on Greedent. Greninja's interesting. It's I don't really think it needs a nerf in any real way, but it's a Pokemon that if you buff anything, it can be completely overpowered. So this is a cop-out answer, but I'm just gonna say leave Greninja as is. Let's see how much the Cinderace nerfs affect the rest of the game, and then go from there. Because I assume after that, Greninja will be broken. But we need to live in a world where Cinderace isn't what it is, so we can see how broken Greninja is and what's the most overpowered part of Greninja's kit. Because you see Greninja as much as you see Cinderace, you're gonna learn some things about Greninja, and right now it's unquestionable Cinderace is just better. So nerf the shit out of Cinderace and then see where that leaves Greninja. It's a cop-out. Hoopa. All right, how do we balance hyperspace hold? That's really what this is about. I think make the cooldown longer, make it 12 seconds probably. Maybe give it some cooldown reduction at the plus to compensate for that. So at level 10, also first off, make this level 11 or something. That would help. Hyperspace hold plus, and make it so the charge time is longer for the whole, like, so for your teammates to jump back. Make that longer, and make it so it takes a longer time to jump between lanes. So the time it takes for the the little bar to go up to send your team to a different lane, make that slightly longer. I think that would help. That's a start. I don't know what else to do with it. It's not a good solo queue Pokemon. I think it's pretty safe to say. It's okay. Like, it's not a bad solo queue Pokemon. It's not game breaking. And yeah, just I don't think you need to lower its Unite Move damage. Like, its Unite Move is really strong, but it needs a strong Unite Move as a support, and I don't think its Unite Move is broken. Again, just make the time to jump through the whole hoop a little bit longer. Just the charge time on it for your teammates. That can help. There you go. That's about all I got for Hoopa. Lucario, simple, lower everything. Every single thing, lower it. The shield, 250% of your attack plus 50. Lower that to 150, and that's a start. Quick attack, lower it. Well, lower the percentage. What is this? Extreme speed, lower that to like 150. Pup, lower it, especially fully charged. This should be 300. This should be 150. Like, what are we doing? Why is this 380 as a fully charged? Bro. Meteor Mash is fine. Bone Rush, honestly, fine. Close combat, lower the healing even more, lower the percentage even more. But get all of these numbers that are above 200, above 300, lower them by 100. And that's a start. Same thing with the Steadfast. Lower everything. Everything, lower it. I don't care if you make Lucario useless. That's fine. Lucario deserves to be useless. It's been the most broken Pokemon in the game since launch. Nerf this Pokemon for real. Don't nerf one ability and then overbuff another ability. Nerf everything. Lucario truly needs it. All right, next. Machamp. So here's the problem. You nerf the shit out of Lucario, similarly to Greninja, Machamp becomes completely overpowered. They overbuffed Machamp so it could try to, you know, keep up with Lucario. And the problem is, it can do that, sort of, but if you nerf Lucario, you have another just overpowered monster. I think the Karate Chop buff was fine. Maybe lower it closer to 200% damage. Close combat's honestly super underwhelming. Maybe in excuse me, Crush Shot seems fine. Maybe lower the crit chance. I don't even know what it is, but maybe lower it a little bit to balance it. Who knows? Honestly, submission, I think the changes to submission were fine. Dynamic Punch still seems okay. And even its Unite move, it doesn't have like crazy scaling, but it does a lot of damage. So it's 6 times 100% of your attack, plus 2 times your level -1. Maybe lower that to 85. I don't think it's that crazy, but just a slight tweak. Just a slight tweak. Especially if you're gonna nerf the ever-living hell out of Lucario, you're gonna need to tone down Machamp a little bit. And same thing, we can go back to Greninja a little bit, just tone it down ever so slightly, lower its percentages by like 5 or 10. I think they'll be fine. Mamoswine, this is a fairly simple one. It has great utility with its ice moves and its ground moves. Don't really change those at all. Anything you need to do, make its Unite move not useless, raise its damage, make this closer to 5, closer to 6. Yeah. Just make that closer to 3. I don't know. Just buff its Unite move. Its Unite move is one of the worst in the game. So buff its Unite move. Mr. Mime. I don't think Mr. Mime's in a bad place. Lower the lower this closer to 1. Maybe make that like 1.2 or something for Confusion. Maybe buff Psychic even. Although Psychic has crazy good scaling, it's just Confusion has even better scaling. Jesus Christ. Yeah, lower its special attack scaling a little bit. That could help. Light Screen Barrier I don't think needs changed at all. Just lower the stun timer for Confusion. It just was a little bit oppressive. Closer to 1.2, 1.1 even. Something like that. Not a big change, but just a little bit. Lower its scaling, just a tiny bit too. That could help. Mr. Mime does a little bit too much damage to be a support / defender, so yeah, just a little slight tweak to the Mime. Ninetales, again, I think this is another cop-out. I don't think you change anything about Ninetales. It's not a Pokemon you can really give mobility to. So maybe you give Auroraville a little bit of okay, here's an interesting buff. I've heard some people talk about this. Make Auroraville so it follows you. Don't make it you know, do damage like Venusaur Petal Dance, but make it so the effect follows you like Petal Dance does. That could be a big buff. Make that ability useful again. Because Avalanche Blizzard is fine. I don't think you need to touch that at all. I think making Auroraville just so the area of effect can follow you. There you go. That's balanced. Maybe raise Dazzling Gleam slightly, but you don't want to overbuff it. So yeah, just change Auroraville ever so slightly, and there you go. Pikachu. Pretty simple here. Lower the damage, especially the burst damage of not the burst damage, the AoE damage of Electro Ball slightly. Does a little bit too much. I don't think Thunder's broken. And then for this, lower the fucking rooting of Electro Web. Make that closer to 1. Maybe make it 1.2. And then for Thunder, Volt, I don't really think you need to change the damage on it necessarily. Or even the stun. I think the stun is honestly fine. Just lower the damage for Electro Ball. Maybe lower Electro Web stun slightly, and then make its Unite move charge closer to 100 seconds. It gets its Unite move entirely too often, so raise its charge a little bit. There you go. Okay, Slowbro. Slowbro is way too tanky at the moment. I think they overbuffed Amnesia. It took a little while to for people to catch onto it, But oh my god, you just get a speed increase. Oh my god. All right, lower that a little bit. Oh, okay, it's for 4 seconds. Okay, okay. Lower it slightly. Maybe make the healing closer to 20%. Again, not a big change, just a slight tweak, so it's not as crazy. I don't think there's a whole lot else. Maybe lower water gun's damage a little bit. It is really strong, one of the best secures in the game. That can help, but I don't think Slowbro's too bad. Snorlax. All right, this is one that's going to be a hot take. Make block old block. Block should not be able to push an entire team off a goal. That is too much power for one move. I had a scenario as I'm recording this tonight, where we had 5 people standing on the enemy's home base. We were making a counter push after Zapdos to try to win the game, and it ended up being less than a 100-point game. We had all 5 people standing on zone. I Dragonite Unite in and go to score, only to have my entire team pushed off the goal by a block. That's way too much power. That is way too strong for one move. Like, that's ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. All right, that's all I have to say about that. Just get rid of that. That should not be a thing. Okay. Sylveon. I don't know what its old damage was, but give it its old damage back. Like, maybe make this closer to 80%. I don't know. It's fine. It's not broken. Like, I don't think giving it its damage back would be bad, personally. I think it needs something because it is very, very average at the moment, which isn't a bad place to be. Maybe make this closer to 60%, this closer to 40, and then make this better. Make this closer to 120 maybe for its damage. It's maybe that closer to 700, 650 maybe, but yeah, its Unite move is truly terrible. So give it a small Unite move buff, maybe a small buff to its mystical fire or hyper voice damage. Probably hyper voice, but yeah, there we go. I think Calm Mind is fine. I think Granny Kiss is fine, so don't really need to touch those. Talonflame, again, this is another hot take of mine. This Pokemon is still way too strong. I think everything about Flame Charge and Aerial Ace is fine. Honestly, maybe lower the healing of Aerial Ace slightly. I don't think you really need to do that, but wouldn't be opposed to lowering its healing. And then this is wherein lies the problem. So much burst damage from Fly and Brave Bird. Make Fly's cooldown longer. Get rid of the stupid, I don't know, just make this closer to 200, make this closer to 850, same thing, closer to 200, closer to 900. Like, it still does too much damage. Honestly, I wouldn't be too upset if they did exactly the same damage, like closer to 200%, closer to 850. I think it does entirely too much burst damage, and I think it does not move entirely too often as well. It's a Pokemon that can unite literally every single team fight. So yeah, I lower the damage for Fly moves and raise its Unite move charge. There you go. Pretty straightforward, but I think it does need some significant nerfs in my personal opinion. It does too much damage for how easy it is to play. I think it's just that straightforward for me. Trevenant. All right, here's another hot take. I don't think Trevenant is that bad. Maybe raise its auto attacks a little bit, give it a better early game for sure. But the problem is, this is a Pokemon that could get so unbelievably overbuffed because it already has crazy good sustain. Like, truly great sustain. Curse, Woodhammer, Curse, Horn Leech. You are just throwing off so many Horn Leeches. So you throw in your Horn Leech on something, immediately activate Curse. By the time your Curse goes away, you're Horn Leeching again. You can just spam the two in unison, and like you always have one of them up, and they give each other their cooldowns back. So you're just constantly spamming the two moves and not dying, just constantly recovering health. I think this is a Pokemon that could get severely overbuffed if they really tweak Horn Leech or Curse at all. So maybe in return, you buff Pain Split a little bit. Perhaps Pain Split, okay, it's really weak. It is very weak, so like even the Horn Leech is pretty darn weak. Like, let's be real. Like, this is pretty weak, but it does great displacement. So maybe you make that closer to 50%, maybe 220 or something like that. Closer to 35, 40, closer to 100. I think it has one of the best Unite moves in the game. Truly, I think its Unite move is incredible. Your allies deal increased damage to everyone that is marked by your move, and you also get a pretty sizable shield. So Yeah, per enemy hit too. I think it's very much like Gardevoir Unite, where it's hard to hit, but if you hit a huge one, it is so good. So I don't think you tweak its Unite move at all, because again, if you buff this Pokemon too much, it's going to be stupidly good. I think the only things that you really change about Trevenant, give it a better early game, make Will-O-Wisp stronger, make Branch Poke stronger, maybe tweak Pain Split a little bit. I think Woodhammer and Curse are fine. I think Horn Leech is really, really good. Maybe make its basic attacks a little bit stronger. I don't really know how you can do that without over buffing it. Maybe closer to 150, maybe. But again, that feels like a lot. That feels like a lot. Just give it a slightly better early game. So just raise the damage on Will-O-Wisp and Branch Poke. That's really all I have. I think Trevenant is a buff or two away from being one of the best defenders in the game, and I'm going to stand by that take. Tsareena, honestly, I think this is another cop out. I think if you nerf Lucario, this Pokemon becomes really good again. So I don't think you change too much about it. Maybe lower the healing on these two moves again, just a little bit. So this is Stomp. With the Cleanly Majesty buff, the healing is 60%, maybe make that 50. And then for Triple Axle, maybe make it 25, something like that. I don't think you need to lower it too much. I do think Stomp, maybe you need to reel in closer to 50, 45%. It does heal quite a bit, but maybe, you know, give it a couple extra ticks of damage. We'll see. I don't think Tsareena is that bad. Venusaur, pretty simple. Just lower the sustain. Lower the sustain of Petal Dance. Make it so it doesn't reset the cooldown of Giga Drain, so you aren't able to spam Giga Drain a ridiculous amount of times. Or even Sludge Bomb, but let's be real, no one's running Petal Dance Sludge Bomb. But so yeah, for 30 seconds of the current remaining cooldown per tick of damage, so make that 50. I think that's fine. Just lower the cooldown for Giga Drain. Maybe lower the healing of Giga Drain. So it's 27%. Maybe make it closer to 20. Yeah, I don't think Venusaur, like, its individual moves are broken. It's what the individual moves do to each other is what makes them broken. Like the fact that Petal Dance lets you spam Giga Drain so often is what makes it broken. So make it so you can spam it less, make it so you heal less, just slightly. And I think Venusaur is in a much more healthy place. Still really good, but not broken. Maybe lower its boosted auto damage. Like, it's not even like it's still pretty good. Like, it's still very strong, but like maybe make that exact 50 and then it's not as big of a deal. All right, only a couple more. Wiggly, this is another Pokemon that needs kind of everything nerfed. Its auto attacks are fine. Q-Charm is okay. Make this cooldown like 30 seconds. I'm serious. Make Q-Charm cooldown way longer. When hit by an enemy attack at close range, make the enemy infatuated for a short time. Infatuated enemies become enthralled and approach Wigglytuff against their will. And it also stops your abilities. Like, just nerf everything about Q-Charm, honestly. Every single thing about Q-Charm needs to be nerfed. Lower the movement speed. Like, lower the sleep effect closer to 1 second, maybe 1.2, 1.1. And lower the you get the defense drop from Sting too? Bruh, this gives you everything. Oh my god. And then yeah, just the movement speed too. Get rid of the movement speed, lower the sleep effect, lower the defense drop effect. And then for the shields, like 150% of your special attack plus 800, make that like 125, 600. That's a start. Again, still feels really strong. So yeah, this is a Pokemon that needs everything nerfed about it. All right, and then last and certainly not least, we have Zeraora, a Pokemon that I think there's a few things you can do to both nerf and buff this Pokemon. So first and foremost, first thing you need to do is change its level scaling. So it has the latest level scaling in the game. You don't get your first move until level 6. You don't get your second move until level 8. You don't get your night move until level 10. You don't get your second plus move until level 14. So get it more in line with the rest of the game. Give it the 5, 9, 13 level scale. Give it that. I think that's would put this Pokemon in a much more healthy place. But in order to balance out the fact that it is still very strong, I don't think you change Discharge. I don't think you change Volt Switch or Spark at all. Maybe Spark a little bit. Maybe make that just an even 100. I don't think there's, too much that needs to be changed about that. The thing that needs to be changed is Wild Charge. Wild Charge is unbelievably strong. So it does do a lot of damage you don't really need to tweak its damage so much as you need to tweak the fact that this Pokemon is fully and totally untargetable. So Zero Aura charges towards an enemy, damaging them and switching to the nearest enemy of the HP if the initial target hits 0. Hitting enemies with abilities or boosted attacks previously within a set time provides up to 3 stacks, with each stack adding an additional hit the wild charge capped at 6 attacks. First, it deals full damage to blah 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 blah. Zero Aura is untargetable for the duration of this move. That is the important part. So here's how we balance this. Take away the untargetable part, give it damage reduction. There you go. So again, make its level cap the 5, 7, 9, 13, like the rest of the game, and then change wild charge. So instead of untargetable, it's just damage reduction. There you go. I think that makes Zero Aura a perfectly balanced Pokemon, a perfectly fine Pokemon. As it stands, it has some bad parts to its kit, but has some really, really strong parts to its kit still. I think its Unite move is fine. It's really strong, but it needs a strong Unite move, because if you're lowering Wild Charge as it is, and you already nerf Discharge, and Discharge is in a fine place, it's still really good. It's just Wild Charge outclasses it. So nerf it slightly, but give it something in return. So that's how we balance Zero Aura, in my opinion, and that is how we balance the entire game with buffs and nerfs. So let me know what you think of my ideas. Roast me for making, you know, your favorite Pokemon better or worse, and just roast me, dude. Come at me, come at my throat. That's what I want you guys to do. All right, but that's gonna do it. Let me know your opinions, and I will catch you all in the next one, guys. Thank you so much. Peace out.